Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to STR Q&A. It is your host, Caleb. Let's get into it. Today, man, I'm super pumped. Two topics that I got for you. First of all, some housekeeping. If you are new here, we do this every Wednesday. Drop your questions below. I don't care what they're about as long as they're about short-term rentals. That's really all that I care about. I'm looking to give back to this community. We have had a ton of people reach out. Thank you guys for watching. Drop your questions in the comments below. I will answer them live. From my perspective, I've got two big topics that I got questions on this week that I wanted to kind of explain a little bit more elaborate than the, two sentences that I'll send off in a Instagram DM. So the first one is cost segregation studies. That probably is very confusing. I will explain kind of what it is, what it's not, and the benefit for you. And then two is the best property management system, PMS for short, but it is question I got this week, and honestly, I get it at least like once or twice a week with like what management system to use. Surprise, it doesn't really matter, but I will give you 4 of my top ones. And then third, kind of a bonus, I'm going to give you the best property for sale right now in the Charlotte market. Shh, don't tell anybody. Without further ado, let's get into it. So I'm going to start with one of my favorite ones is the cost segregation. So this is, we're actually, side note, I've got a Chat GPT review removal tool that is going to be pretty freaking cool. I'm really excited to launch that in my private community for my students. They're going to get first access to everything. If you want more info, let me know. Shoot me a DM. It is down here. So cost segregation study. That is essentially, so full disclosure, I'm not an accountant. I don't do cost seg studies. I just heard about it maybe 6 months ago, and I'm in the process of doing my first one on my rental. So the benefit of doing a cost seg study is it gives you the ability to pull up depreciation from a rental property. There's a lot of stipulations, so obviously do your due diligence. But you're able to, when you buy a property, it's either you depreciate it over 27 or 39 years, something like that. But you're able to, with the cost seg study, you're able to accelerate all that depreciation and pull it into like a year one. That's cool and all, but what the sexy part is combining it with the STR loophole, which is another element of a cost segregation study. It's like another kind of subsection. But if you combine the cost seg with the STR loophole is like, there's like 4 or 5 questions that you have to qualify for, mainly like self-managers. If you materially participate, you're a real estate professional, there's like a lot of qualifications. Once again, do your own due diligence. Luckily for me and my sake with my management company, I would qualify. So that's why I'm doing it. For me, I'm able to, so most investment properties, you are only able to write off passive income, offset passive, or passive losses only offset passive income. Active income or all active losses only offset active income. Active income is like your salary, your 1099, your business. But you have to have active income, active losses to do that. This actually opens up the ability for you to pull that depreciation up into year one and then offset it. If you check those boxes, once again, check those, make sure you do, you can offset your active income. So like for me, I can offset my business income, how much I pay myself, right? My salary. And then also my wife's nursing salary, right? We can offset those. I've estimated that we're probably going to get like 100,000 in losses on paper. So this is a paper loss. Once again, I'm probably confusing a lot of people. Stick with me. Like $100,000 in write-off paper losses will save us probably about 30 grand in actual taxes that we have to pay. So like if, let's say I owe 20 grand in taxes for this year or last year, if I'm able to offset like 30, I would probably get back $10,000 versus having to owe the government 20 grand. So it's a really, really powerful thing. Um, Specifically with short-term rentals, if you can combine the call seg plus the STR loophole plus even sexier thing is the 1031 exchange. Now, there's a lot of hoops to jump through with all of these, so make sure you're doing your due diligence. But at a high level, if you combine all of these, you can essentially buy a property, manage it, pull the depreciation up, get all the active losses against your active W-2 income, and then you can roll that property. You can upgrade that property with the 1031, defer your capital gains taxes on the sale of your old property up to a new one, so you can continue to upgrade your portfolio. So there is a thing called recapture whenever you do a cost segregation study. Once again, check the things. It tries to, you're going to pay it at some point, right? The way I look at it is like, my investments, like I probably will never sell these things. I'm not like trying to flip them or, do anything like that. Like I'm always going to have a pool of investments that I'm probably just going to like continue to upgrade. And then just whenever I croak, I give them to my kids, my wife, whoever's left. And then their basis, like let's say I've got a $5 million portfolio, but I paid only $1 million. Their basis would go from 1 million, like what I paid for it in my lifetime, to 5 million. So they wouldn't have to pay that $4 million gap in that portfolio because it's not taxed whenever you inherit it. Once again, do your due diligence, make sure you are talking to a planner, but high level, this is like a really freaking awesome strategy that I just started to learn about. I've got an awesome, actually, cost segregation. She's freaking great. I honestly might get her on here just to like show you guys exactly behind the scenes. Man, we've probably talked for an hour and a half of just like, holy crap, there's so much opportunity. But pull the depreciation forward, offset active income for self-managers. This is the STR loophole for anyone wanting my notes. They're in my school community. If you don't know where that is at, I will drop the link below. And then Angela, her name is Angela, the plug that is very good with this stuff. So that's kind of cost segregation. That was more high level than I expected, but it's something that I've been wanting to really talk about. It is so freaking important. You cannot save your way to financial wealth. You're going to have to invest and shield taxes. Taxes is going to be your biggest expense in your entire life. So making sure you understand the taxes, and this is legal, by the way. I hate that they called it a STR loophole because it's not a loophole. It's in the tax code. So it's not like you're breaking the law or doing something like sketchy to do this. It's awesome. Every time I say loophole, Chris is like, "Are you going to go to jail?" I'm like, no, this is legal. They just have a terrible branding with the STR loophole. All right, moving on. The second question that I got this week, and I thought was really a good question, is like the best property management system, right? PMS. So I've kind of evaluated this. Once again, this is my personal opinion. I've demoed probably 10 of the top PMSs, and I currently use 2 of them. I've kind of sorted these in order of my favorite to least favorite. I haven't mentioned all of them, but this is kind of like based on the product, based on the support you get from the people, and then like the features. I kind of think features as add-ons. So that's kind of how I've evaluated this. Once, I think a caveat here is like, for property management systems, there is no perfect PMS. There is not one that's going to check all your boxes. Now, maybe I'm jaded because I just push these softwares to the absolute freaking limit. Like I am integrating everything. I'm throwing everything at it. I'm like pushing the bounds of all of this technology. I have a software background. That's actually where I met my business partner, Riley. We worked at an IT company implementing warehouse software. So I get it from that perspective. And I also get it from like the front end as well. So we really push all the softwares to the max. So that's kind of how I'm ranking these, and I'll kind of go into detail on some of these. So Hospitable, it's the best one. bar none. I don't think there's a question about it. And I don't think specifically their product is the best. I think their support is just better than everybody else's. Their product is really good. Like, it's consistent. Every product glitches. Like, every product has a shortcoming. There's things that I could like do very well in Hospitable that maybe Guesty does a little bit better, or vice versa. But overall, top to bottom, Hospitable for specifically starters, it's going to be your best option by far. The support is the thing that tips me over the edge of why I'm so confident in having Hospitable be number one on this list, because not only do they provide solid support, like from Hospitable support techs and the developers, there is an online community of Hospitable Host. You just look up Facebook group, Hospitable Host. There's like, I don't know, a couple thousand other Hospitable users. So even if you do not get a answer from Hospitable support, go to the Facebook group. Some other hosts will probably have had the same issue, and usually the other hosts answer before Hospitable host. So I just usually resolve the ticket as soon as that comes in. Full disclosure, I think I've probably ever, I've used Hospitable for probably 2 years now. I think I've ever submitted maybe 2 or 3 tickets, like support tickets, 2 to 3. To give you some perspective, right now, we use Guesty Pro and Hospitable. We run them parallel for different parts of the business. Guesty Pro, I think I've probably sent in 100 tickets total. So like, to give you a perspective of like, you don't have to have support often here. Guesty Pro, there's just glitches off the yin yang. For spoiler, do not use Guesty Pro. They are absolutely terrible. Would not do it again. We use them for our full service clients, and we have so many SOPs built out from Guesty. But from a use case perspective, it's a beta product. That's the nicest way that I could say it. I would have already switched long ago, but man, they really have you by the you know what when you're so heavily integrated. And then so heavily built out your so many workarounds and SOPs on top of that. OwnerRez would probably be what I would switch to. Full disclosure, I did a demo with OwnerRez. It seemed to be the best top to bottom product. It doesn't look the sexiest. Guesty is sexy. That's why a lot of people go there, because the UI is very good. OwnerRez just works. A lot of it doesn't look good, but it does the job very well. That's what I would go to if I ever were to switch and take the whole portfolio with us. HostAway, I demoed this for a month. I actually ran parallel with a property. We purchased a property, had HostAway and Guesty at the same time, running them parallel until we ended up just moving everything over to Guesty and just integrating that account. It's good. There was some pretty big flaws with the Vrbo integration with HostAway, but once again, not a power user there. It's just when I talk to other hosts, OwnerRez seems to be the favorite along with Hospitable, and then usually it's like HostAway, Logify, things like that, and then Guesty Pro is bringing up the rear. So questions on any of the property management systems, I could do a whole completely other video of like what features is in one versus not the other. One thing I get question a lot is everybody complains about the Vrbo integration. Like, oh my God, Vrbo, like it double booked me. The prices aren't right. The syncing calendar is incorrect. It is not. I used to just blame the management software. I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is terrible. Like, why can't you integrate with Vrbo? Like, it's not the property management systems. It is Vrbo. Vrbo is the problem. Their API sucks. Apparently their support is really bad, and just their product is very glitchy, very beta. It's not built out very well. That's why Airbnb is an industry leader. Unfortunately, they have their flaws of their own, but that's a combo for another day. So we do like 40% Vrbo from all of our portfolio. So we run into a ton of Vrbo issues, but it's Vrbo is the problem here. So if you run into things like that, make sure you keep that in mind. All right. And then our third point of the day, if I don't have any other questions, we've got 6 people on here now. What questions do you guys have? You guys just lurkers over there? All right, number 3. I'm actually going to give away one of the solid rentals for sale right now in Charlotte, just because it's a market that I'm in. So this property right here, 5 beds, 3 full baths. It's priced at 545. And I'll just kind of go through here why I like this property. Well, for one, it's 5 beds, 3,100 square feet, and Belmont's a nice little honey hole for rentals. Obviously, once you do your due diligence, let me know. Like we have brokers on our team that can help you purchase these or even sell your property as well. But here's kind of from a buyer perspective why I would either invest myself or have one of our investors look at this property. So. Good little kitchen. This right here, I mean, this is really the money maker here. I mean, huge outdoor deck. You could put string lights, hot tub, like the whole amenities things. You could do a ton out here. Big open layout. We've got like God, I'm blanking on what these little like things on the bottom. It just makes it feel kind of like a luxury house. Nice little molding, open. I mean, super open living room right here. Floors are pretty good. 2-car garage. You already know what I'm doing in that 2-car garage. It is turning into a game room because I get a lot of hate, but garages are useless in the South because it's hot 9 months out of the year. Turn it into a game room, turn it into a profit center, 1,000%. So the property that I bought, I actually have a 2-car garage that I converted into a game room and just redesigned everything. I just added a foosball table this week. But I think that it's not that move alone, but it's probably going to add like 30 grand in revenue for the first year. That's what we're trending in adding year over year, 30 grand. So definitely do that. So a decent kitchen, probably do stainless steel. Actually, those look stainless steel. But everything else is pretty normal, normal bedrooms, carpets. I don't love carpet, but it is what it is. But this property is kind of rattle off some stats for you. This one will do probably, 90 to 100 a year gross. And then that brings it to about where's my ROI percentage? Where you at? About a 10% ROI, cash on cash ROI. With debt pay down and appreciation, you were looking at about a 19% ROI. So this is a really good investment. We sent it to our investor pool. Nobody has pulled the trigger yet, but I'm hopeful this is still a solid one. So without further ado, appreciate everybody for jumping on. What should I talk about next week in the Q&A? Shoot me a message on Instagram. Peace.